Hello, YouTubers. Today's subject is why I chose Southeast Asia to find a wife. And man, I tell you what, I get a lot of heat for this one, especially the terms of mail order bride, so to speak, And that's probably the farthest from the truth. Any of us that have ever, of course, tended to seek out our wife from the Southeast Asian areas. It's far from a mail order bride, so to speak. But this is my reasoning, and I'm not saying yours will be the same, but it might be. And I hope I can help you in your future decision of that. Um, when I got on the dating scene, so to speak, again after I had divorced, I found out that being my age, there wasn't a lot to choose from. And I don't want to say that in a real negative manner to offend anyone, because I'm sure the women that get divorced and they go out on the dating scene, they say the same thing, man, there isn't a lot to choose from. And I used to have a saying, it was has-beens, never wills, and want-to-bees. And I know that's not fair, but that's how I categorize things. I tried a couple online sites in the United States locally. That was literally a nightmare, from alcoholics. Oh man, it was a disaster. Put it this way, it was a total disaster. And I don't need to go into context on any of that, but definitely it was a disaster. And I thought, here I am at this age, what am I going to do? And like so many other men, I was home a lot alone, and I started watching YouTube. And pretty soon I'm seeing all these beautiful women all over Southeast Asia with these older men. So I started researching that. It's like, wow, not that I did not want a 21-year-old, by the way. I didn't want a 31-year-old either. I wanted a woman my age. So I started researching that, and they were kind of exotic and beautiful, and I loved the long black hair. And it was like, maybe I should start looking here. So this is where the story begins. As I started looking, I wanted the traits that I thought were valuable, that I wanted in a woman. And I happened to find them there. And the number one trait is I wanted old-fashioned values. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend any woman in the West, but I didn't want a woman that was so career-oriented that she forgot who her husband was, or come home and say, "What's for dinner, honey?" And she said, "Cook a pizza." And I don't get me wrong, I understand that. I appreciate that, but that's not what I wanted in a wife. I wanted a wife that when I came home, dinner would be ready in a fair amount of time. And I'm not saying that I'm demanding in any way. But I didn't want to walk in the door and say, "Hi, honey, how was your day?" And she say, "Don't expect me to cook. Make yourself a damn pizza." I've heard that in the past. I never want to hear that again. I would rather come in the house and my wife looks a little flustered, and I suggest that I take her out to eat, or I'll make a pizza for us, and of course, that's how a good marriage should work. You help each other. So I wanted the old-fashioned values of a woman that wasn't career-oriented, that valued a marriage, frowned upon divorce. And of course, that brought me to the Philippines, because there is no divorce in the Philippines, only annulments, which are very expensive and time consuming. 95% of the country is Catholic. So I ended up looking at the Philippines, and that wasn't actually by accident or by research. I originally had dated a Filipina from the US that was a dual citizen. That didn't work out for us, and that's okay. She kind of opened up my eyes to the Philippines and what the Philippine lifestyle and women had to offer. So there I was, ready to go, So I got on a dating site, and did all of the normal things, got scammed a few times, and I ended up meeting Christine, and it's history if you follow our channel at all. But I thought that with the old-fashioned values, she would appreciate me as a man taking care of things, which I do. I'm that kind of guy. I've got tools. I can about fix anything. And my motto through my entire life has been, if someone was smart enough to invent it, I should be smart enough to fix it. And that's served me well in everything I've ever done. I think the only thing I haven't rebuilt is an automatic transmission, and I could figure that out too, especially with all the stuff that's online today. But so I'm the atypical old-fashioned man. I come home, the home is my wife's castle. I respect that. I don't wear shoes in my home because she demands you don't wear shoes. I put things away where they should be put away, or she reminds me where she put them because they should have been. So it's a sharing of power, so to speak. The garage is my baby. I better keep it clean, and I better have my stuff where it belongs. The house, no different. You go down in our basement, and everything is categorized in totes, easily accessible. And I've never been this organized in my life. Honest to God, I should put her out in my big shed, my toy shed, let her go through my toolbox. It's literally amazing. So I wanted them old-fashioned values where the woman wants the husband to be the provider, and she's the nurturer here at home. And that's been absolutely wonderful for us. It's a part that we both know our roles, and we both fulfill them 100% or more, So that was very important to me. I wanted a woman that was humble and honest. There's a lot of women today that are brazen, outspoken. I didn't want a woman like that, I wanted a woman that looked at the world the way I try to look at it. I try to look at things subjectively. I think that there's a right and a left, and somewhere in the middle, it's probably the truth. I wanted a woman like that. I didn't want a woman that wanted to flaunt herself as a female. That to me is kind of despicable in a certain way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like my wife to be beautiful. I like it when other people look at my wife and say, wow, your wife is so beautiful. I like all of that, but I wanted her to be modest and humble. And, I got that in the Philippines because that's just a natural trait in the Philippines, is to be modest and humble. And in the Philippines, if you were boastful, people would look down at you, The number 3, I wanted her to be appreciative, caring, and loving. Man, I got that. I'm telling you, I have never been with a woman in my life that I've felt so loved. She appreciates everything I do. I wish I could show you our text, but I choose not to. But every morning we have our little lovey text before I go to work, and she said, "I'll be right here waiting for you, honey. Please be careful." And them little things, maybe to some people, don't mean much. To me, it means the world. It really does. And to know how much you're loved and needed, it's a pretty amazing thing, My wife's girlfriend just went through, her husband was just killed. And I know how much she loved her husband. And I know how hard it is for her to deal with this. And that's what happens when you're so appreciative and caring and loving. It affects the core of who you are. And she's also Filipina. And it's a natural trait that the girls in the Philippines have. And that's why I chose there. Not that I couldn't have went to Vietnam or Cambodia or Thailand or any others, but they seem to have that. It's just like it's instilled in them. They're so committed to their families. That's another trait that, in fact, to some people it becomes a burden But you have to understand that they're very committed to their family and they're very committed to you. And sometimes it's hard to tell who comes first. That can be a drawback in a relationship. Uh, it's not in ours. My wife is so committed to us as a family, to our son, to the well-being and love and caring of her family at home. I've never been with a woman that has so much love. Sometimes I think our damn dog gets loved more than I do. And that's the truth. Number 5, they are not materialistic. And that's the truth. You know, we do our shopping like anyone else. My wife doesn't need fantastic jewelry or fancy clothes. In fact, we were in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago. I said, honey, why don't we stop at Kohl's and we'll get something for you? No, honey, let's wait till the next trip. You know, I've been waiting for that next trip every time we go to Green Bay. She doesn't want to spend the money because she knows the more money that we spend on things like that, the harder I have to work. And right now I've been working some long days the last couple of weeks or so, you know, 10, 12 hours a day. And she doesn't like that. She wants me home. Literally, she'll be calling. Are you coming home, honey? Are you coming home? And I've never been in a relationship like that. You know, you come home beat, tired. You want to be loved, cared, and nurtured for. Okay. Your American wife, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking American women, but most of them, they worked a hard day. They feel just like you do. There's no one there to nurture each other. Both of you are burned out. And then you wonder why there's a 50% divorce rate in 8 years. It's just sad, you know? So I didn't want any of that. And she's not materialistic. She bases everything upon how hard I have to work. Not that we don't plan on having things, so to speak. I buy her, I just go buy her something, you know, because I know how appreciative she is of things. Generosity towards others is number 6. That's amazing. My wife gives and gives and gives. And I'll give you a little bit of background history. My wife was an overseas worker for many years. She sent 90% or more of her money home to her family. At one point, she didn't even have any money to buy shoes. She was also buying a lot for her mother and father because they had never owned their own home. And that was really important for her to purchase a lot so her family could have a home. How can't you not love a person like that? When's the last time you've known anyone here that's worked overseas for years, not seen their family and sent all their money home? You know, I've talked about that in another video on money. And it's like the love is so deep and so special. So, and she's carried it on. I mean, right down there, she remembered Monday was our next door neighbor's birthday. So she made a big thing of pantsit to send over to Michelle. She always remembers everyone. And sometimes she forgets herself because she's so busy worrying about others. That's an awful special trait to have, you know. So that in a nutshell is why I chose to go overseas. And what I found out when I did that was that these women there looked upon us not as a walking ATM machine, like some people will tell you. A lot of the women believe that a man is a boy until he reaches age 50. And they didn't want a boy in their life. Because in the Philippines, being no divorce, what happens is the boys get their women pregnant and abandon them. It's not like the United States where you pay child support or alimony. They just leave them. They leave them high and dry. And then it's up to the family to take care of that child. And usually it's several people in the family helping raise that child. They've seen enough of that. They don't want that. You know, they want a man that's committed, that's honest, doesn't do the boy things, meaning the bar scene or the strip joints or fast cars, all of the bad that comes with it that some of us might have done in our past. I'm just speaking for other people. But they don't want any of that. And I truly get it. They want a mature man, someone that's going to take care of them. You know? someone that believes in love, honor, and cherish their mate. So the Philippines was an easy choice for me. I had lots of women that were far younger than Christine contact me, which I didn't want any part of. I thought Christine was too young. She, at that time, she was 36 and I was 60-ish. Yeah, 60, I guess. And I found out that with all of the life challenges in the Philippines, these women are mature. I've got a buddy, his wife is 31, and you would swear that she's 50 with her maturity level, because life is tough there. You got to grow up fast. And I found out that we don't have an age gap until it comes to the Super Bowl halftime show. She knows all of them songs. I don't, but I've discussed that once before too. But it's true. There don't seem to be an age gap. So for us, it's worked out very well. And my closing thoughts on this, if you're in America, go into Walmart, walk around, take a good look. How many women in there do you see on a date? Or maybe walk into your local bar. Any single women that are there, take a look. And I would never recommend picking up a girl in a bar. Our choices here are pretty tough. I've always believed this, and I still do. The good ones are well taken care of. Don't get me wrong. There's good American women in this country. I happen to know many of them. My mother was included in that group. There are many good women. Don't get me wrong. It's not like there are no good women. But, at my age, I'm running out of time, man. I don't want to spend 10 or 15 years of my life and date and find out that she may not be the one. And I have a buddy, he's gone now, but lifelong buddy. He found a girl here about 10 years ago. He thought she was the girl of his dreams. He was 62. And something about her didn't click, She was wonderful to him. She was good looking, had a nice looking body, She was close to his age. And he got married to her. And I told him beforehand as his friend, I said, be careful, buddy. Be careful. He didn't like that, actually. He got offended by that. I told him, I said, I'm not trying to offend you, but at your age, you can't get the time back or the money. And I don't ever want to see it hurt. You're my buddy. Ended up, he married her. Once he married her, she convinced him that he should take out a note on his paid off home and pay off all of her bad debts. And he did that. 3 months later, she filed for divorce. He ended up working right up till 67 or 60. Yeah, 67, I think, to pay them debts off that were hers. I didn't want to get in or take a chance on anything like that. And I don't think any of us do. Sometimes our heart goes pitter patter and it shuts our brains off. I understand that too. That happened with my buddy. I didn't want to get into that situation. And like I said, I tried here. It was a pretty brief try. Didn't take me long to figure out that the grass is not greener here. And I ended up in the Philippines. So hopefully this video helps you just a little bit. Because, man, I'm a happy man. I'm not looking back. If you like our videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, send us a note. I'd like to say hi. On that note, take care and have a great day.